Good morning. My name is Lyne Nagle, and Cheryl Tarrant, my good friend, reached out to me and asked if I would like to do a kind of a demonstration of my workflow using the Distressed Effects app. And of course, I said yes, absolutely. I've used this app forever, probably since it came out, and literally every photo I ever edit goes through some time in this app because I found nothing can be any better at adding atmosphere and the little trinkets, if you will, that I like to add, like birds and trees. So everything I do always passes through the app. That's not to say that I don't use other apps. As you can see, there's another couple of apps that I use. Today, however, we're going to be using just Distressed Effects app and Mextures. So I'm going to jump right in and let you watch how I'm going to edit. We're going to start with an unedited photo that I took on the way to camping last weekend. And it's, let's just take a look at it. It's insignificant. It's blurry. It's taken with a Spectre camera app, usually almost 100% of the time while we're driving down the road. And I like the effect that it gives. It gives me a really good base to start with. I'm going to layer many layers on top of this, and at the end we'll see what we come up with. So we're going to say okay. So here we are. And as the app opens, for those of you who use the app, you know that the gels, the original gels, are sitting in the top row, and the original textures or the default textures are in the bottom row. So this is usually the place I start, and I start looking around to see what I want. Each of these is 100% beautiful. I use them. I've used each and every one of them. That's really pretty on different images. So I really like Lily, I think, for this one. I like the kind of the matte finish that Lily has. I also really like Half Light. And there's bokeh, things with lots of color and lots of bokeh. I think we're going to go back and use Lily. I do want to show you that there are different blend modes. I have clicked right here on Lily, and in the Distressed Effects Plus app, I can change the the blending mode. I can go from multiply to overlay to hard light to soft light. So one gel overlay, many different options. I do like it in the multiply mode, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that. I'm going to click over here on the right button that looks like setting sliders, and I'm going to take the opacity of that Lily, and I'm going to take it all the way down so you can see, and I can see better where I want to stop with it. And I'm sitting right about probably 75% right there if I were to put a number to it. I'm going to go over here to the left and use the brightness slider. I will flatten, but not right yet. And I really like what that does to the blues and how it softens the yellows. So the saturation slider, I'm going to move it up quite a bit and see how that affects it. Each photo is different, and I never know how it's going to be. Here's the contrast. In the background there, you can see that green mottled, blurry thing going on. Those are trees that were blurred out, so we'll be using that to our advantage. The very last thing I'm going to use on this settings is the, sharpness. Now I can take the sharpness all the way up. It's really crunchy. I'm going to back it way off to right about there just to give a little bit added definition to those trees. And I'm going to back off of that saturation a little bit. I'm going to be adding quite a few things to this, so the saturation at this point isn't all that important to me because we're going to, believe me, be adding a lot of color. So I'm happy with how it looks. The next thing I want to do, though, is I want to choose a texture on the bottom. And equally, I take the opacity way down and bring it up to where I think it's going to be. And that one is Glory. It's Hama, Jasper, good old Jasper. Rupee, Sif, Sin, that's nice. Blythe. I've used Blythe quite a bit, but I like to use it in the wintertime because of the wonderful mottled highlights in the sky. There's Pith. Oh, I really like Pith. I like the raised sections of Pith. There's Azure Sky. Charm. I use Charm quite a bit too, but I do back it down a little bit. Oh, that's really good. I like how it almost looks like velvet. Let's go back and look at Pith. So I really like this, what is laying on top, and that's Charm. And then let's look at Pith, and I really like the raised sections of Pith. So I think I'm going to choose Pith. And we're going to lower the opacity all the way down. I'm going to bring it forward. I like those raised bits. Right about there. I like that. What I am going to do, there's 2 circles. You can see one on top of the other, and they're continuous little arrow circles. And if I touch that, it's going to make the texture move. You see that? It creates a different atmosphere for sure. I think I like it right there. I'm going to touch the brightening button again. Apparently I'm pressing too hard on the screen. And I'm going to move the contrast is really good where it's at. So I think that's good right there. So now I'm going to press the screen and I'm going to flatten. We're going to go in and start adding our little things that are going to make the photo come alive. I'm going to go up here to the right-hand corner in the suitcase and scroll down. These are the different packs. Each and every one of them filled to the brim with fun things to add. 2 of my favorites are the trees, of course, and I think I'm going to go with Barely There. And as you can see, there's just, there's so many good ones. This one's good. It's got grass along the bottom. For this photo, though, because of the trees in the background that are very, very blurry, I'm going to use Trace. It'll give us 3 trees that I'm going to place on that tree line. With my thumbs together, if I spread them apart, it makes them big. If I bring them back in together, it makes them small, that being the smallest point. I want them somewhere between big and little, so I am going to try that out. Right about there. I'm just trying to find a good spot for those trunks to land on. I like it over that way. Right about there looks good to me. The other thing that I do when I'm adding trees or birds is I back off the opacity a bit. Right about there. It looks really good to me. So we're going to say okay. And I'm going to flatten that. Now we're going to jump back in there and see if we can pick up some birds. You know what though? Wait, I wanted to change up the texture down here. I want to bring your attention to one of the new packs. So I'm going to go over here to my suitcase, switch pack, and it's called the Splat. And this is just my favorite of late. That's about all I've really been using because it's so versatile. Look at all that. And I just love the way the everything looks so well loved, if you will. And oh boy, those are so good. So I know look at the writing on that one. That one's really nice. That's called Elude. This is called Cheyenne. Let's see what happens when I bring the brightness up. That's nice. Oh, that one's good too. I like how it gives it extra clouds kind of in the back. That's pretty good right there. My go-to. And I back that off. That's good. A mace. Wow. I like this. I like how it interacts with the texture and the raised bits of the pith. So I think we're going to land there for now. I am going to lower the opacity and show you what it is without. And watch when I bring it up what appears, especially over there on the right side or on the bottom. There it is. The bottom has this very, very cool writing. So we'll leave it at 100% while I turn it. Again, I'm going to use the 2 arrows in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And I'm going to turn the texture now. Oh, that's really pretty. I like how the paint splats on the bottom are showing through on the ground. And that way, that's good too. think I like this way right here. The writing is appearing over on the right side. I'm going to, not yet, I'm going to brighten that up a little bit. Right about there. I like that. I'm going to back it off just a little, not too much. I really like that writing. So that's where I want to land with that. I'm going to go ahead and think about adding some birds. And if you noticed, the background is kind of dark. It's kind of, it's got some texture in there. So I want to experiment. And I went to these, the new pack called the Birds Like Snow, because they will show up really well on that background. And it lends a bit of whimsy, which I like. I like whimsy. So I'm going to use Fly to Thee. These are 3 trees, and I'm sure they're home to a lot of different birds. I'm turning the birds by one thumb being stationary and the other one moving it around, see? My right-hand thumb is stationary, but my left-hand thumb is moving it around. So I want them to be kind of flying up. Now I want them a little bigger, so I'm going to, again, stick my thumbs together and make them bigger. There we go. And I'm going to place them so that they're just hugging that tree and kind of cuddling that tree. There they are, really small. Wintertime, that would be just like little snowbirds. But I'm going to, again, I just wanted to show you as I move my thumbs together, the little birds get scaled down. Now I'm going to put my thumbs together and scale them up. If I can get my thumbs here, come on. And there I want them right about there. I want them nuzzled against this second tree and kind of lifting off of the third tree. So I'm going to move it right about there. Now I'm going to lower the opacity. Again, on the birds, I do lower. I want to see them, but I don't want you to see only them. And they're actually doing a really good job of kind of lightening up that corner. So I like it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and press my check mark and say that's done. And we're going to flatten now. And I have flattened. So now we've placed Lily on top. We had Pith as a first texture. We added our trees, and then we went back in and we added a mace, which is a beautiful texture. Love the writing on here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image because I'm going to go into Mextures. Okay? And I'm going into Mextures because I want to make it a little more muted, if you will. So this is the image we just got done editing. We want to use it. It's going to ask me to crop, but I'm going to say no. I will crop on my own. I'm going to press formulas, things that are already bunched together. And I'm going to go down here into, let's look at summer and see what kind of feel we have. Right out of the box, we've got something it's really nice. I like that. It's very light and airy. I really like that one. I love the warmth of the red showing through on the sides. That one's pretty good too. It's called Golden. It's a fun app. I use it for very specific purposes to add different colors in certain spots where I want them to stay. Like you can see the red on the edges only. It's not going to be that pronounced when I'm done, but I'm going to go ahead and click my check mark, and that formula has been added, and what it does is opens up everything that's in the package. And I start by going to the very first thing in the package, and it's an overlay. So I click on the eyeball to see what it looks like without it. But I think they've done a pretty good job with it. So we're going to leave that, but I am going to draw it down a bit. The next one in the pack looks like a texture. So let's take the eyeball and turn it off and turn it on. And I like it, but it's a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to bring that way, way, way down. Okay. And then I'm going to go on to my next one, which is called UFO. That's what's giving us part of that red. I'm going to turn the eyeball on, and I'm going to bring that opacity down. Way down, right about there. So we like that. This one is called Cotton Candy. And without it, that's what we have, which is beautiful in its own right. When I turn that back on, you're going to notice that it puts kind of almost a foggy effect over the top and some more red. So I'm going to pull that down. So I want to get back to where we're almost how we came in, just with a little bit of added extra colors. So I'm going to hit the check mark here, and it brings me into a slider that I can manipulate the different settings, and I want to specifically target the contrast. I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Right. There. I want to go have a look at the saturation. That's highly saturated. That's not as saturated, right? About there, looks good to me. Okay. Click there. All right, so that's what we have, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Make one last trip into the Distressed app. We have to open our latest rendition. There we have it. So one thing I do want to do is go in here and take one peek at the top and make sure that I don't want to... Wow, that's so pretty. Do any changes. I have to have one last look. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Almost looks like nighttime there. I could do a whole different image with that. I like Finch. That's good. Let me pull the opacity down. Let me up the constant there. Ooh, right there. Yep, I think I'm about where I want to be. Look at that. Wow, I like that. Okay. If you don't have this app, get this app. It's so much fun to use. There's so many different things you can do with it. I love it. It's got wonderful support. The community is awesome that's built around this app. This is how I create each and every day, and it's like a therapy for me. So I really appreciate you watching today, and I hope you liked it. I'm going to save that, and there it is. We started here. We went here, and we ended here. It's quite fun. So that is our photo that we did today, and I really appreciate you watching and hanging out with me today and seeing how my workflow goes. Thank you so much.